LB, like, we've been working in the studio for, I would honestly say, since time immemorial. Like, I would put it like that, since the beginning of this whole tribe experience. You know, you were literally one of the first artists between you and Will. Like, you were the first one. So how does it feel to be on this career path right now as an artist, singer-songwriter, to go from, you know, a young girl who gets connected to the community through Wabano to performing on stage live at Westfest? Like, how does it feel being a singer-songwriter today?
Well, it definitely feels good. Like, the way it started was like pretty random and spontaneous, to be honest. But like, it ended up being like my life, and like it helped me decide what I was going to do in high school. Basically, yeah, like choosing my career and like how I could make a difference.
So when you say choosing your career, like, what are you doing now?
Well, I'm in school, in post-secondary school for music right now.
What made you choose to do that?
Honestly, just doing music, like, as a hobby already, and a passion. Yeah, just, like, already doing it, doing shows, and, like, being a part of that scene already, maybe, like, really find my, like, love for it, and want to go to post-secondary for it.
So I'm gonna back up a little bit. What kind of inspired you to start into music? What inspired you to get into becoming a musician or becoming an artist?
Well, I always liked singing. When I was a kid, I liked singing, and I'd always sing in the car and stuff, to Rihanna and like a lot of those early like inspirations, and Elberlyn and stuff. And like I wrote poetry too, and yeah, then just going to Wabano, like I met you and like I met Will, and like I was doing dumb things, but like I think you just like suggested that we should try like recording a rap song like randomly. I think that's literally how it started, and then we just recorded at Wabano in the basement, and I just started like really liking it from then on, and like releasing my like first song on SoundCloud and all that stuff really like made me just like excited for life.
How does it feel to be a female in a male-dominated industry?
That's a big question. I'd say there's like two main feelings that I have, and like one of them is definitely frustration because it's hard and it's annoying to deal with, like all the stigma and the sexism that there is in the industry, and also just like sometimes you just like feel like you have to take on a lot of responsibility, but then that leads into the second side, which is more like it's a privilege, and it's really like encouraging and inspiring because you have to go through a lot of different social like issues, and like in doing music, it gives me the opportunity to actually do something about those issues, and like gives me a voice and like a place to share my voice and like what I have to offer as a woman, or just in general as like a youth like trying to make music and do art instead of one of the more like traditional careers.
So knowing that like the music industry is a difficult industry to make it in, what are some of the things that keep you motivated to continue as an artist?
Honestly, for that, I would say like when it's the hardest, that kind of is when it's the most motivational to me. Like when I see something, like for example, if somebody says something that's sexist, it kind of fuels it for me because it's like, oh, like you actually don't think I can do it? Well, I guess I should prove you wrong because that's that's not true. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I can't do certain things, and like, or just because something's hard doesn't mean I can't do it or take it on or at least try and do it. And I don't know, maybe that's just like my personality, but I just feel like, yeah, but I don't know. But also I guess when it gets hard sometimes, like I usually fall back to like my family and like the people that support me the most, and like kind of look for a bit of extra encouragement, confirmation. But I'd say like being a part of Tribe is like pretty big too, because that's like already a community where I can like remind myself of like what we're doing. Like it's not just me like trying to do it by myself. It's like all of us we're all trying to do it together, but like in our own, for our own like benefit as well. So like that's definitely like a good place for me to like fall back on and like keep myself going. But yeah.
You've been part of the Indigenous Art, Music, and Fashion show for like at least 3 years at this point, and your first performance was at a sold-out audience. And personally, I still remember my first performance. So how did you go from singer-songwriter to now like fashionista to wanting to become a designer? Like how does fashion play a role in your career today?
That's another really big question. Well, kind of like singing, I've always been interested in fashion and like just like looking different, I guess, and being different and like finding my own thing to like bring to the table aesthetically, I guess. I looked like, as a kid, I would ask like people what their favorite color was, and almost everyone said like blue and like red and green. I don't know why specifically, but yeah. And no one ever picked yellow. So I specifically picked yellow because no one picked it. So that just became my favorite color. Like that's just like kind of an example of like how deep it is for me to like do something that's against the norm, I guess, and just experiment and see people's reaction. And like that kind of grew into like me wanting to create my own fashion, because I looked so much for things that were different when I realized that I could just like make something that's different. Like I could look at something that I like and like build off of it, I guess, or something that needs to be said. And also like I started thinking a lot about like women in fashion and like what we're meant to wear or what we usually wear, and why those things, like why we wear those things or do those things. And often that it's been portrayed in media, it's like a known thing that like women are sexualized in a lot of advertisements and in a lot of and just in the media in general. And I started to like really disagree with that, and I felt like there needed to be more that could be done about it, and that I could contribute myself, and that like anyone can really contribute. So I thought, honestly, like why wouldn't I just like try and work with that concept? So I started making designs on my own clothing first. I would just like modify my own clothes with like words that I thought were like empowering, or like words that would like keep me like sane, I guess, and like remind me that like I'm in control of my image, and it's not society that controls what I want to look like or how I want to be in this world, because like ultimately it's like an individual who gets to decide that. And I feel like a lot of times in the fashion industry, it's so like it becomes fake, and it like loses its individuality, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know, I started writing words that were inspirational to me on my clothes, and then I had like this opportunity through Justin, like through you, where I could go to a fashion show and like showcase those at like what's the name of the place again? National Women's Leadership Conference?
Indigenous Women's Leadership Conference?
Indigenous Women's Leadership Conference.
Yeah.
And that was like a super big moment for me, and that really made me realize like the weight of what I could do with just my designs, and that was like its own journey in itself. And like what I did with my hoodies, like I realized that it doesn't have to be, I realized that when you wear something, you're showing a message and like you're representing yourself. So I thought, why wouldn't I represent like women, like empowerment? Like that's just, that it goes with everything that I believe in. It's fashion, it's like, it's kind of subliminal because it's not really expected to be on like clothing. Like activism and like different kinds of like social movements aren't usually like seen on clothing, I guess. Like in a commercial sense, definitely at protests and stuff like that, but in a more like commercial
mainstream kind of concept.
Yeah, like in a more mainstream sense is like less common. And with all these other movements going on, like the Me Too movement is happening right now, and like MMIW, just all these things about women that were just like already in the media, but like kind of lacked some voices, and like I just thought like I wanted to give a voice to the people that hadn't spoken up yet, and I thought that a way of doing that was maybe like providing clothing that women, like that surviving women and like just women in general could wear, or even men too, like people could wear that would represent them and like their feelings towards what had happened to them, or just how they feel, to make them feel more empowered. Was like, I have some examples, like my one that Will bought was like says reconciliation. It's like a blanked out document, and a bunch of other ones like they say like survivor and grit, and like all those are like kind of words that I feel personally like helped me feel empowered. And, yeah.
That's cool. No, I'm really proud of you. I'm just really proud of like the journey you've been on and the growth you've accomplished and the person you've become, and how much of a positive role model you are for other women and girls. And at our first stop at the Legacy High School tour at Woodruff, some of the girls there literally felt starstruck to see another woman on stage like doing what they do best. So I just think it's really cool to see where you've come from and where you're at now.
Yeah, thanks.